Our next Jackstraw reader tonight is Stephen Reed Griggs. Stephen Reed Griggs earned certificates in narrative nonfiction and arts management from the University of Washington, a Bachelor of Musical Arts in saxophone performance from the University of Illinois, and a Master of Business Administration and Management Information Systems from Pace University. As a writer, Griggs is a member of the Jazz Journalists Association. His work has been published in the Seattle Times, Seattle Weekly, Earshot Jazz, Raven Chronicles Volume 26, Creative Colloquy Volume 3, Stories of Music Volume 2, and Rhythm in the Rain, Jazz in the Pacific Northwest. Griggs's historical research has been mentioned in the John Coltrane reference and Wild Eye in the City. It seems fitting, I'm going to add that when I went up to grab some food before our reading tonight, that a very talented musician who works at our green market says he's going to be taking over the well, hopefully it's going to be the live jazz hour on KEXP. So he's going to be doing the 1 to 3. So he says jazz is having a moment. So welcome, Stephen.
Hello, thank you so much, Peggy, for that introduction. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. I want to thank Priscilla for her wonderful mentorship this year and years gone by. I also want to thank Jackstraw and Seattle Public Library, both for supporting my creative projects over the years. I was artist in residence at Seattle Public Library in years past, and Jackstraw has supported a lot of my music and narrative projects in the past through their artist support program. Tonight, I'm going to read a brand new piece that was inspired by Abraham Verghese's book, Covenant of Water. In there in the beginning, he starts off with a sentence, in a country where ... So that prompted me to write this. In a building, oh, this is called Uncertainty. In a building where precious poison drips into 50 human hearts at a time, my face tingles, hot and prickly, flushing red. I am new to cancer treatment, without expectations or experience to guide me, but following instructions to monitor myself for anything out of the ordinary. I press a red alarm button on my hospital bed in the infusion room and look at my wife Doris's worried gaze, hazel eyes above her white mask, the only visible window into her feelings. In addition to being my persistent and steadfast partner for 4 decades, she is a licensed social worker with years of experience supporting clients with HIV. She literally shouldered so much since my diagnosis that back pain frequently bests her. I'm normally healthy, but on a recent all-night emergency room visit, she dozed next to me on blankets on the floor. I now call her Tenacious D, like the comedy rock group. Within seconds of pressing the alarm button, 7 staff rushed through the sliding glass door and privacy curtain, listened to my complaint, and turned to a jumble of equipment next to where I lay. At my bedside, a woman with brown eyes and curly hair dressed in blue scrubs fixes on my gaze. Her face registers focused, healthy, kind. She asks to no one, anyone, everyone, what do we got? Someone says, rituximab reaction. Her demeanor reminds me of the quick-witted, even-keeled combat surgeon B.J. Honeycutt from the television show MASH, set in the Korean War. I glance at her ID badge and read, Alana Hernandez, ARNP. My mother was a nurse, and ARNPs have even more training. I think nurses should rule the world. I'm in good hands. I'm only minutes into my first infusion of immunotherapy for indolent mantle cell lymphoma, a slow-growing non-Hodgkin's blood cancer. The targets of my treatment are a specific type of mature white blood cells, tiny factories that normally churn out antibodies to fight infection. They have mutated, useless, but immortal, unable to die off normally, swelling my spleen and lymph nodes under my armpits. My symptoms are fatigue and night sweats, soaking my nightshirt when I sleep. Drop by drop and pumping throughout my body is $16,000 of a monoclonal antibody, copies of fused mouse and human proteins. Scientific literature indicates that this Frankenstein medicine kills by binding with a specific protein abundant on the surface of my cancer cells, but scarce on healthy sibling cells. 20 years ago, this understanding of cancer pathogenesis and targeted treatment was in its infancy, and a patient with a case like mine would likely undergo extremely toxic systemic chemotherapy. A physician friend said, "Chemotherapy is like beating the dog to kill the fleas." I'm lucky to live in the wake of progress by molecular biologists where targeted immunotherapy narrows the damage to specific cancerous cells. Just kill the fleas. Leave the dog alone. This therapeutic focus comes with awesome potency. After less than a teaspoon of immunotherapy introduced to my bloodstream, my immune system suddenly recognizes the large population of turncoat cells, as if stealthy invaders had just been revealed on radar, raises my immune system to DEFCON 1, and launches all arsenals of healthy killer white blood cells to attack. Is my face flushed because of an early allergy to treatment? Or is my body taxed by a massive die-off of cancer cells? I don't know. Alana orders a pause in the infusion and adds a dose of antihistamine, calming my reaction and making me drowsy. My reaction subsides quickly. My face cools. The infusion restarts. 5 hours pass. Numb. I don't want to talk, read, watch television, or listen to music. Just the quiet click and whir of machinery. Soft put, 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 like a tiny outboard motor interrupted regularly by burp, like a metal folding chair scraping the floor in a distant room. With each burp, I see 2 drips drop from the IV bag into a little chamber half full of clear liquid connected to a tube going to a port in my chest. Bright fluorescent light and sharp scents of hospital disinfectants pierce muffled sounds and a warm blanket cocooning my body. Periodically, a blood pressure cuff squeezes my arm. Occasionally, a staff member slides open the glass door to my room, pokes their head around the curtain to look at the gear, and asks if I need anything. I'm groggy. My lower back begins to ache. I adjust my bed, thinking that I stayed in one position too long. Up, down, up, down. The bed motor buzzes. I turn to my side, then the other side. Nothing relieves the growing pain. My anxiety mounts. I feel feverish. The pain is so persistent and exhausting, I consider giving up. Pain burns the fog from my mind. Finally, I remember the call button and push it. Alana returns with her posse. My back hurts. Unusual. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your pain? 8, 9? She tells the nurse to pause the infusion and add a steroid. I try to sit up. My stomach flips. I'm suddenly lightheaded. I'm going to be sick. Someone hands me a blue bag while an anti-nausea medication cruises into my veins. Instantly, my nausea ceases. My backache remains. Alana watches my eyes unflinchingly as the clock ticks. How's the pain now? 5? My answering Alana's question with a question elicits chuckles from several in the room. Crinkles appear next to Alana's eyes. For them, the crisis is averted, and their sense of humor catches me by surprise. I had been peering over the precipice of pain tolerance. Perhaps I am the coyote in a Roadrunner cartoon, running off a cliff, momentarily suspended in midair, slowly realizing that the joke is on me. Laughter is the best medicine after all, even if I don't get the punchline right away. I don't know what lies ahead. I'm scared. An invisible serum, scrum, rages inside my blood while my brain struggles to shapeshift peace and understanding across my blood-brain barrier. Cancer may signal new pathways within cells, but how do these paths illuminate new directions for my own journey? Through illness. Mutations to my genes create chromosomal chimera, both a real reassembly of the molecules which make me and an internal monster of myself to imagine slaying or controlling or befriending or learning from. What will be my outcome? This is the truth of my life-altering diagnosis: uncertainty. It's not that a healthy life subsists on certainty, but somehow high stakes of mortality sharpen the unknown to a razor's edge, a deadly weapon of the mind that will draw blood with even a slight and careless touch, or cut deep with little effort. The name of my illness and vocabulary of molecular biology sound foreign. The unknown cause of my mutating blood seems fundamental to my existence. My prognosis may be fatal. And with so many variables at play, my oncologist hedged with disclaimers like, everyone is different, and there's so much that we don't know. Hammered with doubt, my life trajectory shatters. I have no glue. To cope, I float, not grasping for an anchor of certainty, unsure of how to fight currents ripping me away from hopes or sucking me toward fear. Somewhere in my blood lies my fate, my future, my fable. While I wait for my story to surface, I will just be. I will be with family and friends. I will greet each new sunrise and brew fresh coffee. I will absorb the news of the day. I will.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Postscript, I am in remission, cancer-free, still getting treatment. And, you know, I'm a musician, so I like to hear what's happening in the room. And so if anyone wants to put in the chat something or send me an email, I'm happy to hear from you.
Thank you for adding that. Sometimes it's like a different crowd tonight because the last year or so, the chat has been just like a little babbling brook of things. I would like to say that you have a wonderful talent for making the treatment and the disease also fascinating and interesting. That's as someone who has been facilitating a cancer lifeline for 13, 14 years with my writing group, it is really interesting to hear in such detail. And I was quite riveted. And I know that it speaks to way too many people who I know in attendance, you know, have firsthand experience with that type of uncertainty. And it's certainly a piece that I'm going to be sharing with some others. I'm so glad it's recorded, and that life with uncertainty. I'd also like to say that I love that you think nurses should rule the world, and that you gave a shout out to the Seattle Public Library, because I think that almost the best thing maybe in the United States, and they could solve a lot of problems, would be librarians. I think if we could turn it over to the librarians, and the nurses would be in a lot better shape. So thank you very much.